What is up, my bearded bros? Bearded Maine-iac here, and just wanted to give a little thing, I guess, a little list of mine, as you can tell by the title. Probably why you clicked on it at all. So please don't click away. Just give me a second to speak, to introduce myself. What is up? I am the bearded Maine-iac, the Lord of Nothing. I say that funnily. I want to just get, before I give off my top 5 things Dauntless needs, and I mean like needs, I want to say comment about things I like about Dauntless, things that I find inviting about Dauntless, stuff like that. One thing I just want to chalk off to start, these trials that you can do now. Love the addition, absolutely love it. Just looking at the times, I love it. It gives it a little more competitive aspect to it, and I think it's a beautiful addition to the game. Also, another thing I guess that's the one thing. That's one thing I love. That's number 5. Number 4, another thing I love is these little guys right here. So far, it seems I haven't been playing for too long, so if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. It seems like 10 of these will have lit up eyes, and they give you gleaming pearls if you collect them. And I believe you can get 10 a day, which totals about 50 gleaming pearls, if I'm not mistaken. Which is awesome. I love that aspect. Gives you a reason to come here, explore a little bit, walk around, stuff like that. I think that is a wonderful part of the game. That would have to be number 4. Number 3, the thing I like about Dauntless is the weapons. One thing I love about Dauntless is absolutely the weapons. And I thought I had a technique cell equipped. That is my fault. No, that's a bad one. Nice. Anyway, I love the weapon selection. Like, if you just look here, you have 6 archetypes of weapons: swords, axes, hammers. I'm just gonna say scythes. That's not a scythe. That's... don't... chain blades. I'm just gonna call them. Spear and Austin repeaters. You get 6 different archetypes of weapons. You have countless ways to like different kinds of each archetype. So even if you like a sword, you have something you can use against any enemy, because really you have any element you could ask for. So there's a lot of variety without being too complex in your variety. The ingredients to get each one, to upgrade each one, is simple. You got one for each element, one basically for each kind of enemy you fight as well. They all look great. They all have little different benefits to them. I absolutely love this aspect of the game. It reminds me kind of like White Knight Chronicles, a game I used to play, in a sense to where, yeah, you have a bow, but you could have like 10 kinds of bows and stuff like that, and they weren't overly hard to craft, but they gave you a reason to farm for the material to make them and improve them. And I absolutely like that. Also, reminder, those daily head things do help you level up your pass, which is awesome. Also, before I get to number 2, I just want to say, this weekend only, August 8th, no, August, what is today? I'm an idiot. August 10th and 11th, I believe it's today as well. 40% off your tier upgrades. If you want to get the pass and tier it up, 40% off. Probably the best time to do it, in my opinion, unless you don't want to tier up because you're like, oh, I'm going to complete it anyway. Well, anyway, number 2, the thing I love about Dauntless is the environment. And yes, it sounds cheesy, probably the most. But if you look at just the spawn town right here, the distance, the stuff in the distance doesn't lose its beauty. It looks like it's far away without actually being too terribly far away. The shading on it's beautiful. The art style is beautiful as well. I love how they do the ships. I love even like the little details. Like, it's not very detailed, but these boxes, they have enough detail in them. Like characters like this, how detailed and unique each one is beautiful. Not to mention all these weapons, skins, and everything. They put a lot of time into the art of this game, and I absolutely adore a game, especially when it has kind of a unique art style. I don't play a ton of games, so I do apologize if this art style is similar to something else, and I do not know about it. That is my fault, so I do apologize for that. But anyway, this art style, if you go into the missions and stuff like that, the enemies look fantastic. No, well, not the enemies, the environment itself looks fantastic. The trees, the rocks, the cliffs, everything. It's just a beautiful game to play. And honestly, it eases the feeling of dread and boredom that some games get when you have to grind. The aesthetic is kind of calming in a sense. And for the #1 thing I love about Dauntless, so, and I'm going to mention this probably later on or probably again at some point, is the enemies of Dauntless. I absolutely love the enemies of Dauntless. They are incredible. Each one, like, it's not a huge variety of enemies. Like, I'll give you an example. It's not a huge variety. They're coming out with more slowly over time. But as you can see, it's 5 different kinds, obviously: Terror, Shock, Frost, Blaze, and Neutral. Each one has roughly 3 or 4 enemies, or 2 to 4 enemies, I should say, that you can fight. They all their abilities are unique, and they really feel well thought out. Their looks are unique, their attitudes are all unique of each other, how they break, what happens when they break, stuff like that. It's almost like each one is its own little boss fight, and I really love that. But it's not only necessarily the mechanics of the enemies themselves. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. One of my favorite enemies in the game is probably the Scrave and the other owl classes like that, because they just look absolutely gorgeous. I love this guy here, the Charog, because he looks goofy, but in a good way. He looks like a good goofy. But one of the most unique enemies in this game, to the game itself, not just in general gaming, because obviously if you look throughout the whole analogs of gaming, you're probably going to find something similar, is Quillshot right here. And this is probably why the enemies take the #1 spot on the list for me, is his abilities. What happens with him is just apologies, is awesome. When he falls, he has moves where he falls down, he's like, oh no, I'm stunned, but then he launches a huge volley of spikes out of his back. Like, he'll just randomly just shoot spikes up into the air, so he keeps you on your toes, and I absolutely love it. But another aspect I love of this is his break mechanic in this game. I believe I use Austrian repeaters when I fight him just because of his cold shot attacks. Sorry, I just thought of an Eminem pun. I'm not going to say it out loud. That's embarrassing. But you can break the quills. Even if he's enraged, I find you can break them. It's harder, but you still can. And it lessens the damage that he do, which is awesome. As you can see, the Bizarre Behemoth feeds on raw aether that its body metabolizes into razor-sharp spines. It can fling these massive quills into the air and rain them down on anything or anyone foolish enough to be standing there when they arrive. It's an awesome behemoth. Beautiful design, beautiful coloring, shading, everything. The mechanics are gorgeous. Well, mechanics necessarily aren't gorgeous. It's not overly hard. It's challenging, but not overly hard. It's to the point to where practice and you can get probably really good versus this enemy, and it's fun. It's a really fun enemy to fight with friends. Shrike right here, Gnasher. These are also great enemies as well. They look beautiful, all of them. One enemy I have yet to fight itself is Karabak, so I don't know anything about it, and I do apologize, so I'm not going to talk about it because it looks absolutely terrifying in a sense. But I love the enemies of Dauntless. They remind me not necessarily of White Knight Chronicles, because the games aren't really similar in the sense of what you have to fight. But they just remind me in the sense, like, oh, when you get to that monster, you're like, I'm gonna freaking mess him up. And it's honestly been a while since I've had that feeling playing the game. Even Winter Run or Never, I can't remember the exact name of that game. Never give me that feeling. Now, for the point of this video, the top 5 things I think Dauntless needs to improve, and you'll find maybe most of these are not just I think they need to improve, they absolutely need to improve. Now, I'm not going to necessarily talk about towns or stuff like that, but, you know, I'm going to just, you know, just ignore that. One thing, and they're not going to be in any particular order, because the need is going to definitely vary by person. Probably the first one is going to be not so important, the last one's probably going to be more important, stuff like that, so, I'm going to be thinking off the top of my head as well. Now, I did say the number one thing I like about the game is the enemies, and they keep adding more, and they will add more throughout the game. One thing I would really like for this game, and I feel like it needs, is, like I said, more enemies. And not just necessarily the big boss fights and the hunts where you find them. One thing I would like to see this game add is a kind of mission you can do, because as you could see from what I selected before, you could do patrols or you could do whatever. I would love, absolutely love, if on your way to fight the bigger enemies, you kind of fought some minion type monsters. Add some kind of little guys into the game. That way you wouldn't just be like, oh, let's find the boss, fight it, it's over, stuff like that. It's just the whole mission mechanic. I kind of wish there was a little bit more variety, a little bit more enemies in there. It's not like Dauntless absolutely needs it. Dauntless is fine where it is. It's just something I feel like could make Dauntless even better. If I had to pick another thing that I feel like Dauntless needs, I think it needs a better character customization set. I mean, it's fine where it is, but I wish you could, like, for example, I'm just going to give an example of what I mean so you know exactly what I am talking about. If you look here, I wish you could go to, like, options or something. Go back, go to options, something like that. And there could be an option here to customize your character. I'm not saying it's absolutely necessity, that's why it's kind of at the bottom. I just wish it could have that to add a little bit of something to this, not just screen, but if you're feeling like, hey, I want to be a lady today, or hey, I want to be a dude, or hey, I want my hair to be black, or I want it just to be a little bit more accessible, more easy. I don't even know if it's possible. I haven't looked, so if it's not possible, then that probably moves it up on the list. Another thing I would absolutely love about this game is if, well, not that, if it was easier to earn sigils. I love that. That's not actually on the list. That's just a little note right there. Let's see, 3 more things. Can I think of 3 more things that I wish Dauntless would add? One would be the matchmaking system. What I mean by that, well, there's going to be 2 things on here for the matchmaking system, so there's going to be a part 1 and part 2. They're 2 separate things. When you're in a game, and let's say you match into a party of 4 people and someone leaves, I never, in all my playing, as you can see, I'm like mastery level 13, whatever that means, in all my hours of playing, I have never once seen someone able to join once someone leaves. I don't know if that's something they've done on purpose or make it an option for the guy to come back in. That kind of kills the mission for some people, and I hate backing out and leaving someone alone or something like that. I've had missions like, for example, my very first mission against Quillshot, I had 2 people quit, so it was literally just me and one other guy fighting him, and I was underpowered to begin with. Big mistake on my part. And it was awful. I kind of wish they could give the option to have wait until it was filled in, stuff like that. Not absolute necessity. The second part about this, and probably the 4th thing I'm going to mention, is the cancellation system in matchmaking. At least for me, I don't know if anybody else runs into this issue. If you click hold and let's say you click one of these and you're like, oh shit, I clicked the wrong one, and you want to cancel matchmaking or whatever and click a different one. For me, it either takes 45 seconds to a minute to actually cancel something, or it actually just, instead of canceling, just match makes me into that thing anyway, and then I'm either spending 4 or 5 minutes trying to back out of a hunt or stuff, or spend even longer actually doing a hunt I honestly don't need. It's not an absolute necessity. It's just something I believe will greatly improve Dauntless if they had a better cancellation system in their matchmaking. I can see why they might not with how their matchmaking works. I just wish it was something they would change. Second, or lastly, and this is probably not at the top, but I will mention it last just because I thought it would be a nice way to close the video. As you know with Dauntless, if you play this, if you don't play this, I will explain it to you real quickly. It'll probably take about 10 seconds. Each of these guys with question marks will give you missions, and you have to usually hunt down materials, hunt down certain enemies, use certain weapons to finish them, stuff like that. And they got that. One thing I wish Dauntless would add is no. I'm trying to think of how to word it to not sound like a douchebag, real quick. I wish they would add, like, a daily guy. You know what I mean? Like, a mission that's only available for, like, that day. That Monday, that Tuesday, that Wednesday, or whatever. Just one day it's available. You either do it or you don't, and it's gone. I know that sounds weird, but in when I played Destiny 1, there was this daily bounty robot that would stand about right here in your tower, and you could pick up like daily Vanguard bounties, daily Crucible bounties, and do them. And if you didn't do them by that day, they were gone by the end of the next day. I kind of wish there was something like that, because with these story missions, they're grindy, and I love it. I love these missions and quests because they are grindy, but I would also find it very beneficial for this game if they had more of a daily thing where it's like, oh, hey, what? Catering? Oh, what? You have a new bounty today. Hunt 7 Scraves or stuff like that. I'd be like, oh, sweet. Let me go hunt some Scraves, farm them up a little bit. I love that. I really would. If it's already in the game and I haven't found it yet, I feel like an idiot. Anyways, please don't be too mean in the comment section down below. You may not agree with me, but this is all opinion based, and I apologize for any disagreement we may have. But if you want to contribute to the conversation instead of hinder it, let me know in the comment section down below one thing that you love the most about Dauntless, and one thing you really wish Dauntless would improve. May it be the cost of the battle pass, something like that, maybe cost of cosmetics, anything like that. Let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.